The competitive edge, how small businesses can have effective infrastructure. In this insightful episode of Entrepreneurship is a Marathon, our renowned guest, Alicia Butler Pierre, founder and CEO of Equilibria, Inc., shares her expertise and her insights on the crucial role of business infrastructure for small businesses. We'll learn from Alicia's extensive experience in advising and optimizing processes for renowned organizations like Coca-Cola, Shell Oil, the Library of Congress, and the Home Depot. Join this episode and stay tuned to gain essential knowledge about the significance of business infrastructure, but also, that's such a word, infrastructure, okay? And also how it can significantly contribute to the success of your small business and how to make it happen for you. So stay tuned. We have a lot in store with our special guest, Alicia Butler Pierre.
Welcome to Entrepreneurship is a Marathon, a podcast about how you can grow a profit-producing, purpose-driven business without burnout. We don't need more people starting businesses. We need more people continuing. Each week, we'll deliver the latest and greatest tips, tricks, and strategies for you to revive, grow, and scale your business. Now, here's your host, consultant, professor, and the business defibrillator, Vanessa Zammi.
And I am joined today by our special guest, Alicia Butler Pierre. Yes. And in case you missed the intro, we'll be talking about your competitive edge, the competitive edge, how small businesses like yours can have effective infrastructure. Okay, that word. Okay, but so important, so many syllables. Okay, but as we always do in the beginning of every episode is that we go and discuss what has been your win of the week. Okay, so if you are listening to us via your favorite podcast platform, maybe iTunes or Spotify or something else, then think to yourself, what has been your win of the week? If you're listening to us live, though, I encourage you, comment on LinkedIn to the right. What has been your win of the week? Or this direction. What has been your win of the week? Or comment on YouTube, scroll to the bottom of the video, hit that red subscribe button, hit that. There you go. And then keep scrolling and then share in the comments what has been your win of the week. Even if you're watching the replay, let's celebrate. Okay, let's celebrate what it could be personal, it could be business. We'll start off with our guest, Alicia Butler Pierre. What has been your win of the week?
Well, Miss Vanessa, can I first say it is an honor to be here with you today. We are kindred spirits, and I know that will come out as we continue the interview. But that was quite an intro that you had for your show. Yes, I'm giving you love and props before we get started. So now that we have that out of the way, my win of the week, I sold my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great, because it is a seller's market. Horrible for trying to find a new place to go.
Oh man,
you know that whole law of supply and demand thing.
Yeah.
I'm feeling that. I'm feeling both sides of it. So
yeah, so you're like, I sold, and now I need to live somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah. It can happen. It can happen like that. Oh, maybe this is the opportunity. The universe telling you to just like be free. And just go
be
for it.
free. And I've tried the whole digital nomad thing, Vanessa.
Not
for me. Not for me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least you tried it though. At least you tried. Now, at least you know. Sometimes you gotta experience it in order to know. And now you know.
Because I thought I would flirt with that life, but no. Decision fatigue is very real.
Yeah, the flirting ended at the first date. Indeed.
Good on paper, but no.
Well, folks, if you're listening, maybe you also sold your house, okay? And so, or maybe you found a house, okay? Maybe you're the one who bought the house from Alicia. Who knows? But with that being said, type in the comments what has been your win of the week. Let's see. So I'll share my win of the week, and then we'll go into Alicia's beautiful bio, and then we will go into your competitive edge, the competitive edge, how your small business can implement and have effective infrastructure. Okay. So my win of the week. My win of the week is pretty much in summary, lots of connections and things. And so as you all probably know. Maybe you haven't known, maybe you don't know, but now you're going to know. So part of the work I do is not only working with one-on-one clients, but also being a guest instructor and faculty and staff of various entrepreneurship programs and incubators and seminars and boot camps, and accelerators throughout the country of the US. And so the first part is that it's been great learning about all the programs out there. So many out there to inspire you in your business ownership journey. Okay. For those of you in the early stages, for those in the mid stage, that's why you have one-on-one advisors like Alicia Butler Pierre, right? Or myself. So, it's all good. But the win is also that I connected with 2 more programs this week. They're discussing Bring Me On for their 2024 program. So really excited to share more insights and information with business owners, as we do on this podcast. Entrepreneurship is a marathon. And as Alicia is here to share with you today on how you can have an effective infrastructure. Okay. Yes. I don't know how I come up with these connections. They just flow naturally, But with that being said,
that's amazing.
We're going to go into it. This is great. This is great. And the new connection is Alicia Butler Pierre here. We literally just met like 10 minutes ago. So here we are. We might meet in person though, because I'm going to be where she's at. So, in literally a couple of days. So with that being said, let's talk about it. How can small business have effective infrastructure? Who's Alicia Butler Pierre? In case you didn't already know, Alicia Butler Pierre is on a quest to revolutionize the way small businesses operate. She does that by speaking, by coaching, by writing, by lecturing, and by podcasting. Okay, she's the founder and CEO of Equilibria, Inc., which is in the background there, if you're watching us on video, and the best-selling author of Behind the Facade, the world's first published book on business infrastructure. She hosts a weekly business infrastructure podcast, which ranks in the world's top 2%, folks. Okay, top 2%. Okay, and she's the adjunct instructor of lean principles at Purdue University. Maybe we are at Kindred Spirits. We are just like out here, okay, teaching and sharing information with people, right? Okay. And also the adjunct instructor of operations management at Nichols College, a chemical engineer turned entrepreneur. All right, a chemical engineer turned entrepreneur. She's advised, designed, and optimized processes for some businesses that we already mentioned in the beginning, but Coca-Cola, Shell Oil, Home Depot, and so much more. So, Alicia, now business owners, founders, entrepreneurs, they love talking about how marketing is their problem 24/7, right? And then it's my role, and then you probably do the same thing. And it's our role to help them see that their issues is in cash flow, not only in marketing. Sometimes it is, sometimes
right.
A little bit, but there's way more to it than the marketing.
Correct.
And I know that what you say is that the relationship between sales, marketing, and operations is the battle between the seen and the unseen. Can you describe more about why?
Sure. And this is the first point of why I believe we're kindred spirits, Vanessa, because we both love operations and processes and systems. So when I say that, seen versus unseen. So when we think about sales and marketing, that's everything. Of course, you have to do things to bring or attract customers and clients to your business in the first place. No argument there. So when it comes to sales and marketing related activities, these are the branding, social media, PR, contributing to high profile publications, doing guest lecturing, being a professor. Those are all of the things that you are doing outward facing to literally show up in the world and say, hey, I'm open for business. Operations it represents the things that are going on behind the scenes, behind the curtain, so to speak, under the hood. I always like to use Starbucks as an example. When you walk into Starbucks, you're greeted by the baristas. They're watching you place your order. You're watching them make the drink. You can see what they're doing, but there's usually a room in the very back, and that's where a lot of the magic is truly taking place from an operations perspective or standpoint. So that's what I mean when I say that operations really represents those activities that are unseen, but definitely experienced by your customers and clients, because they will know right away if they've had a bad experience or not. And it's usually because of something operationally driven that has taken place or has not taken place.
I love that. And I know that we mentioned a little bit in your bio already, right? That you're a chemical engineer turned entrepreneur. And I know working with big businesses, they have their own infrastructure issues. Yes, they do indeed.
Yes, they do. Indeed, they do.
Yes, they do indeed. Yes. And so I know that probably your background influenced a lot of your approach around how to optimize processes and building that infrastructure. Can you tell us more about your system for that you help like small businesses or even founders, entrepreneur stages? And feel free to clarify what stage of business you work with. Tell us more about your system for creating the business infrastructure, whether they're going digital or even if they're trying to manage their non-digital operations. Just yes.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for that question. And I actually have some visual aids that I have with me here, Vanessa, to really help kind of bring what we're talking about to life. My framework really is based on a lot of exercises. It's a series of different exercises to quickly help businesses that are already established. So thank you also for asking that question, because this is not for startups, only because startups are more focused on the sales and marketing related activities. They're trying to attract the customers. We're dealing with people who don't, getting customers is not their issue. It's the fact that they might have too many. And that's when they realize, oh gosh, now we need to expand our team. But in order to expand our team, people need to know what to do and how to do it. And that's what processes and business infrastructure and systems, operations, that's what that's all about. The not so sexy stuff sometimes, but you and I both know we're very passionate about it, and it's a lot of fun. So
It
one
is.
of
It
the
is awesome. And actually, something that you had mentioned, because there might be, this literally was messaging with someone this today. So they asked me about someone who they saw us connected with who's a VA. And I was like, well, she's great, but let me know, give me an update on like what you think about her, right? So she sent me a message. She's like, okay, update. So such and such is really great at operations and systems, or she's really great at, no, not, she said she's really great when you have a detailed plan of what to do. But in terms of doing, just going off the fly, that's not her specialty, right? And I was mentioning to her, yes, because VAs, right? So for those of you who are listening who are like, oh, I just want to get an assistant, what Alicia was just saying here, I want to point that out to you, right? Whether you're hiring the new check cashier, whether you're hiring a new, a marketing manager or someone, sometimes there are people who want to just run with it. They say, you tell them, set up the inventory, they'll do it, right? Process that you got going on. Yes. And then I will do the step by step. They might eventually, like 2 months down the line, make it creative. But till then, they want a step by step. So Alicia's about to tell you how to get that
and
going.
they want and need structure and order, not chaos. And so many of us as entrepreneurs, we kind of thrive in the chaos when you think about it, because we wear so many hats. We eat, sleep, and breathe whatever it is that we do. We're so passionate about it. We can do it for hours on end. But we have to remind ourselves the people that we hire are not necessarily entrepreneur driven. They need that structure. They need things to be spelled out for them. And that's why turnover can be so problematic in so many small businesses, because we don't have things documented. Something as simple as a job description, it just isn't there. So one of the things, there are 4 questions that my framework helps businesses answer. Number 1, what work needs to be done? Number 2, how is that work organized into departments? Number 3, who will actually perform that work? And number 4, how is the work performed? So, want to share with your audience, Vanessa, really quick, fun exercise that I do with my clients. Imagine you're in a room and you and your team, even if you don't have a team yet, if you're just a solopreneur, but you just start brainstorming all of these different activities that are performed in your company, no matter how mundane or how complex. You're going to write those individual tasks or activities onto separate index cards. Now, for those who have the benefit of actually seeing me on video, just for illustrative purposes, purely illustrative, I am holding up 3 different index cards. One is labeled A2, another B3, and one is C1. So just imagine these represent different tasks, again, that are performed in your company. So after you do this exercise of identifying all of the tasks and activities that are performed in your company, I then have another exercise where we spread out all of those index cards across a very large table. And I'm going to then ask you and or your team, whoever is participating in this exercise with you, to start to group like tasks together into columns on that table. So again, for illustrative purposes, those who have the benefit of seeing me on video, I am now holding up a column of tasks that all happen to start with the letter A. And then I might come behind you and your team, Vanessa, and ask, okay, if you had to roll up or assign all of these tasks within this particular column to a department, what would the name of that department be? And you and your team will have some healthy discussion about that. And you might say, well, this really, we would call this department A. Now, in a real world, it might be something like HR, IT, sales, marketing, finance, accounting, things like facilities management, operations, management. This is our strategy department. This is our R&D department. You get the point. Now, once you start to figure out,
and I do want to pause it there for a
sure.
second, because there might be
Sure.
someone. I have to think of what the listeners may be thinking right now. So there might be someone who might be saying, okay, well, those things I can just like look them up online, just look up HR stuff online. But the point of this exercise is that at some point in time, depending on your business, depending on your industry, right, depending on where you are in your business, there are going to be different parts of HR that are a little more important. There are going to be different parts of inventory that's a little more important, right? And so the reason why you go through this exercise with Alicia is to really understand, what is your business currently doing right now? It's not about what you wanted to do in the future or what the other business next door is doing, but it's about what is your business doing right now that it actually does need to, group together and level up. So to want to emphasize that.
Correct. Great point. And so once we figure out the things that you're currently doing, but you did bring up a really good point, Vanessa, and that is, you also do want to identify things that you recognize you should be doing, but may not be doing currently. And it's only because of bandwidth issues. That's usually the issue, because you don't have a certain resource on your team yet. But you do want to start thinking ahead of, okay, we don't have a person like Vanessa on our team yet, but if we did, what would we ask Vanessa to do? And then you'll start to look at each department, its associated tasks. And then I have this fun little, I love asking this question next. So I have this stick figure that I'm holding up. And across this stick figure, it says CEO. So Vanessa, if you and I were doing this exercise together with you and your team, I would ask you, Vanessa, in a perfect world, if you had access to all of the resources you needed to truly scale and take your business to the next level, you have this vision, who ideally should perform this task that's represented by A3? And you might say, this happens all the time. Well, I do that right now, Alicia. And I might write CEO across this little stick figure that I'm holding up above the task that says A3. But I'm going to really probe, and I'm going to challenge you. Just because you are doing this, just because you can do this, should you be doing it? Just because you could doesn't mean that you should be doing something. And it could very well be, you mentioned virtual assistant earlier. So I have here something called another stick figure that says office manager. And you might push back and say, well, I don't have an office manager yet, but that's okay. Because remember, the point of this exercise is to identify who ideally should perform these tasks. This alone is so powerful because it's visual, it's tactile because you get to touch these stick figures, you get to touch these index cards, and it goes by really fast. It makes something that would traditionally be very boring and like, oh my gosh, where do we even start? Can I just go and Google all of this? No, get yourself and your team together in one room and truly brainstorm what you're doing, how it's organized into departments, and who should be doing the work. What comes out of those few exercises, Vanessa, are a few things: more succinct and more descriptive job descriptions. You now have an organizational chart for your company. That org chart is now not only going to show the current resources that you have in your company, but also the resources that you have identified that you don't have in place right now. It's almost like having your vision board for your company. because you have the office manager and the fractional CFO and some of the other resources that you've identified, you and your team now have something to work toward. It's on paper, it's very visual, and it's something that everyone understands. Okay, this is where we're taking the business defibrillator business, for example. The other thing that comes out of that, Vanessa, is it helps you understand how to organize your physical records, your digital records. So if you use a tool like Monday.com, or my team, we use Notion, Dropbox, Google Drive, you now have a way of organizing all of your information. You just organize it by department. It also helps you understand what processes actually need to be documented. So many people come to me, Vanessa, and I'm sure they approach you with the same thing about Lean Six Sigma. We've heard about Lean Six Sigma, and I always ask them, okay, Lean Six Sigma is a process improvement framework. Where are your current state processes? And they don't have them. And so they have trouble figuring out, well, where do we even begin in terms of figuring out what we need to document? And that's what my framework actually gets people or these businesses toward, is first figuring out what tasks need to be performed. And then from the task, how do those roll up into processes? Then you identify your processes, you document them, then you can talk about improving them. So that is a really quick, fun way of explaining the framework, what it is, what it gets you, and how it can truly help your business scale to the next level.
I love that. Thank you, Alicia. Yes, even with the visual. So for those listening on the podcast, though, yes, I was made sure what she was saying is what she was showing. Okay, folks. However, you're welcome to check out the YouTube channel to see, okay, what it is that she was showing. So yes, and then I know we only have only a couple minutes left here, and so much more to say about the system. But what would you say are some maybe like top 2 to 3 potential risks or pitfalls that business owners should be aware of when they're trying to implement new infrastructure systems, right? Or maybe what are the top 2 maybe pushbacks that you get, and how do you address those?
A major pushback is we don't have all of these people, and it's like, again, yes, you don't have them, but the whole point of this exercise is to identify who you need, so that as you continue growing, you have a plan now for figuring out the order in which you will start to fill those vacant roles or positions at your business. The other I should have listed, this is the main pushback. They just don't understand the value of processes. But this is your intellectual property. Think about, we mentioned Starbucks earlier. If we were to open a Starbucks franchise, which I don't think is possible, but if we were to open a Starbucks franchise, what we're really purchasing, Vanessa, is their operations manual. They are literally telling you, this is the blueprint. This is how you find the location. These are the uniforms that we use.
That's what McDonald's does. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Any franchise. It goes back to that book, The E-Myth, that so many people talk about, right? You have to make your business franchisable, even if you never plan to open additional locations. If you want to sell your business at some point, guess what, folks? You have to have your processes documented. If you want to hire more people, guess what, folks? You have to have your processes documented. If you want to scale, you have to have these things documented. So get it done sooner rather than later, because it's always more painful the longer you wait.
Yes, and when she says painful, she means more costly as well. Yeah. And so with that being said, right, I know that some people may even have pushback around like, oh, but that sounds so costly. Literally, what Alicia is talking about here is literally writing stuff down. You can Google Doc it, Microsoft Word document it, email, list it out in something.
Hey, use your phone. Use your phone just to record your. But just the point is, get it out of your head and into some format that can easily be shared with other people. And you can always tweak and improve along the way.
I love it. I love it. For those who are watching us live on LinkedIn or on YouTube, you see this banner here that says, check out the Smooth Operator course. Okay. And so I will let Alicia describe that. So how can people reach you for more information? Where can they go? Yes, we're coming up on time, but I know there's so much more you have to share. So,
Well, I
yes.
definitely hang out on LinkedIn, so please feel free to reach out to me at any time. Connect with me on LinkedIn. The other thing is the Smooth Operator course. Okay, so this is my attempt at making this information accessible to the masses, Vanessa. So obviously, it can't be with everyone at all the time in a one-on-one consultative fashion. So the next best thing, aside from the book that you mentioned, is the actual course, because there are some people, myself included, who are visual learners. In that course, you actually have video tutorials, demonstrations of that exercise. What we gave was just scratching the surface, but this course gives a much more complete and comprehensive guide on how to do these things.
Love it. Love it. So folks, if you're listening, check out the Smooth Operator course. If you're watching us on YouTube, it is linked in the show description, smoothoperator.courses. Okay. Smoothoperator.courses, plural. So you'll see the link there. If you're listening to us on the podcast, then you can see the link in the show description, show notes as well too, on your favorite platform, whether it's Spotify or iTunes. Okay. With that being said, we want to thank Alicia for her lovely visual demonstration, for her lovely insights, amazing insights. Okay. I told you, well, you were in for a treat today, didn't I? Yes, I know, right? Yes. I'm like a story fortune teller, you know? Okay. I'll tell you your fortune. All right. With that being said, thank you, Alicia, for joining us here today on Entrepreneurship Is a Marathon.
Thank you so much, Vanessa.
And for those listening, check out the Smooth Operator course if you haven't already. If you didn't already tell, this show is not only about a story, but also about lessons and action items to keep you moving forward in your community business. We equip and empower you through education, right? You just got some education today, okay? So stay tuned each week. Keep tuning in for our special guests. If you haven't already been listening to the season, then by all means, re-listen to some episodes and subscribe below for updates on our YouTube channel. Follow our podcast on Spotify if you listen via Spotify. And remember, folks, entrepreneurship is a marathon, but it's a marathon you don't have to run alone. Thank you and toodles!
Are you interested in partnering with Vanessa Zammi, the business defibrillator, to revive, grow, or scale your business? Then text 617-959-2203. We specialize in collaborating with storefronts, salons, and shops. That's 617-959-2203 for more details. If you're looking to shock your 10-year shop back to life, then text 617-959-2203 for more details. Thanks for joining us this week on Entrepreneurship is a Marathon. If you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or Spotify, or if you'd simply tell a friend about this episode. And if you're looking for more tips on reviving your business, make sure to visit our website, vzammi.com. That's vzamy.com. Time to revive, grow, and scale. Visit vzammi.com. That's V for Vanessa, Z for zebra, A for animal, M as in money, Y as in yes.com. Visit vzammi.com for